Hello, I'm Ray Fisk. As you have just heard, I'm a senior service scholar. Getting wiser is the best hope for any person as they get older. Getting wiser is also the best hope for human civilization. My presentation today is based on many decades researching human service systems. I hope you will find my ideas for African service innovations useful. A November 2018 McKinsey quarterly article states that Africa is a 1.2 billion person market on the cusp of transformative growth. Later in that same article, they argue for doing well by doing good, which they describe as meeting Africa's unmet needs. To me, Africa has the opportunity to adopt wise service innovations that can enable great prosperity for all Africans. The innovations I recommend today require learning from the mistakes of human history and not repeating those mistakes. This is why I titled my talk, Serving Each Other, Seeking Wise Innovations in Service, Organization, and Society. So let me propose three service innovations for all of Africa. First, service wisdom. When I began researching services back in the 1970s, it was common for business scholars to belittle the service economy. Back then, services were seen as insignificant. This was because economic scholars had made a major mistake. They could track the economics of agriculture and manufacturing with ease, but they couldn't track services easily. What caused this mistake was that they focused on monetary value. Services are not physical, so it was difficult to assign monetary value to them. The English word service is derived from the Latin word for slave or servant. This history still causes disrespect for those who provide services. Fortunately, a large and very global service research community has developed despite the mistakes of the past. And modern service researchers have realized that all human economies exist to serve human needs. This means that our species has always lived in service economies. These economies preceded the invention of money. Ancient tribes survived by serving the needs of their members. Modern civilizations survive by serving the needs of their members too. So what exactly are services? Services are based on human relationships and interactions. Human interactions are the essence of civilization. The key service wisdom for service researchers is to focus on how well we serve each other's needs. We can also say that serving each other fairly should be called a service, and serving someone unfairly should be called a disservice. This means that service researchers should seek to reduce disservice and increase service. Second, change the rules. Most of human history has been based on systems of winners and losers. Wars have winners and losers, and European colonialism was a system of winners and losers. Of course, every African colony was a loser. In game theory, such systems are called zero-sum games. This means the loser gets zero, and the winner gets a sum. Such systems cause corruption because there is an advantage to cheating. The zero-sum logic of the past is fundamentally destructive of human potential because it exploits people. As an outsider, it seems to me that Africa still struggles to overcome the damage done by colonialism. The great Jamaican reggae musician Bob Marley wrote the classic advice for all oppressed people: emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Only Africans can change their perceptions of themselves. To change the rules, Africans should first trust themselves and then trust each other. Africa should adopt better rules for human interactions. Long-term friendships are based on mutual trust and mutual benefit. In game theory, such systems are called non-zero-sum games. A popular term for this system is win-win. Businesses can employ a win-win logic by carefully serving the unmet needs of their customers. One of the best ways to serve customers is to save their time. Time is much more valuable than money since everyone experiences the same number of hours in a day and the same number of days in a week. Service organizations often charge their customers excessive amounts of time. A more efficient business can save its money and save its customers time. Zipline in Rwanda illustrates my point. Zipline uses drones to deliver blood and vaccines to remote hospitals and clinics. The drones are cheaper than a human driving a truck with the medical supplies, and the drones are much faster too. Such speed not only saves time, it saves lives. What can service researchers do about this ancient problem of human exploitation? The solution to this problem requires service researchers to change our own rules too. Most service research and most business research has followed a tradition of scientific observation and description. This is commonly called explanatory science. We need to adopt the practices of design science instead. Design science includes fields like medicine and engineering. Medical researchers are not satisfied with observing and describing a disease. They seek to treat and even cure the disease. Service researchers should design service systems that enable mutually beneficial human relationships. We should design inclusive service systems. The African M-Pesa mobile banking system is vastly more inclusive than traditional banking services that require access to a physical bank. In the 10 years since launching M-Pesa, it has become the world leader in mobile banking. In fact, the McKinsey article states there are already 122 million active users of mobile financial services in Africa. And third, collaborate. When I studied marketing way back in the 1970s, the logic I was taught focused on marketing to customers. In general, much of business practice is still focused on what is done to customers. Modern service researchers have learned, however, that marketing with customers is the respectful way to serve customers. Working with customers is collaboration. Mutually beneficial collaboration is the way forward for Africa. True prosperity should be inclusive of all Africans. Now, this is easy to say, but very hard to do. Collaboration can be difficult, but it is also the key to fair and respectful human prosperity. Now, here I have to bring in a brief story of ServSig's success through collaboration. When I started ServSig 25 years ago, I asked potential members for their suggestions as to what ServSig should provide. When people seemed particularly passionate about an idea, I asked them if they would be willing to make their ideas happen. Lauren Wright suggested starting a doctoral consortium to educate new people about service research. And I asked her if she would start it, and she did. 25 years later, the ServSig Doctoral Consortium continues to be a wonderful community building service. It is a true collaboration. As you know, Africa is a massive and fast-growing continent. If mutually beneficial collaborations become common for African men, African women, African children, and African minorities, it will liberate the collective intelligence and human creativity of Africa. There is also an ancient form of collaboration that needs to be rediscovered. Before modern civilization, native tribes all over the world had learned to coexist with nature. With more than 7 billion humans on our planet, we must learn to make softer footprints on our planet. My colleague Kunio Shirahata from Japan Advanced Institute of Technology and I have proposed what we call the tripartite value co-creation model of service. In that model, the top of our triangle focuses on the service system providers and the service system recipients. This is normally what's called the service economy. The bottom corner of the co-creation triangle is the natural service system. Ecologists tell us that ecosystem services are the benefits humans receive from the natural environment. Every human needs clean air, clean water, good food, and access to nature itself. Kunio and I advocate enhancing the value of natural capital by establishing a voice for nature in service systems. Africa should seek to avoid the ecology mistakes made on every other continent by more carefully conserving its ecosystem services. Africa is already well known as the cradle of humanity. Africa has the potential to become the world leader in collaboratively serving each other while not destroying Africa's unique natural ecology. As African researchers, you have the opportunity to take the lead in research that enables wise service innovations. In my comments today, I've sought to convince you of 3 service innovations. First, that serving each other is service wisdom. Second, that changing the rules so that win-win service systems are practiced is the best way to transform African business practices. And third, that collaborating with each other, with customers, and with nature enables fair and respectful service for all. Finally, let me offer my best wishes for a wonderfully successful and wonderfully collaborative conference. Thank you.